Hello and welcome to Das German Kritic. Well, hey, außer mir macht's ja keiner. For years, there has been a show that has been a staple of German TV for over 40 years. That show is Tatort. Since November 29th, 1970, this show depicts the works of fictional commissioners and officers and inspectors in various German cities. So, naturally, since Kika, Kinderkanal, the main kids channel on German TV, is a joint venture of the two major networks ARD and ZDF, someone had the bright idea to make a kid-friendly version of an, at times, violent and complex crime series. And I bet the asshole of every single one of you watching this right now just tightened when I said the words kid and friendly. Why? Because experience has shown us that whenever something is for kids or child approved or, some such bullshit, it's usually a bad thing and we should all have reasons to worry. In many cases, the final product is either too simplistic, talks down to children, or just straight up insults their intelligence. Krimi.de, thankfully, does none of these things. You want proof? Well, here are some of the things the two episodes that we're going to take a look at, as well as one that I planned on doing but then dropped, want to partake in. Cyberbullying, cyber grooming, assault, sexual assault, incest, domestic violence, attempted suicide, and online pedophilia. Now, sure, some of the more drastic issues like rape or domestic violence are only hinted at or implied. But Krimi.de's admission alone that these things actually exist make it worthwhile for it to be featured on this program. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Season 6, Episode 6's Netzangriff, Net Attack, or Cyber Attack, or whatever the hell you want to translate that into. Before we begin, though, it's interesting to note that Netzangriff is the only episode of Krimi.de that was filmed and takes place in Stuttgart. And once you've actually been to Stuttgart, you'll quickly realize why they decided to never, ever, ever film there again. Well, there went my Swabian audience. Fuck 'em, let's just start this. The episode begins with our lead Klara, played by Jette Hering, being depressed. Which, yeah, is kind of understandable. I mean, she did move to Stuttgart. Her father, Gerhard, played by Thomas Heinze, tries to cheer her up by telling her about the friends she'll make on her first day in her new school. And like any teenager, she doesn't give a shit and just goes to school by escaping through her window. Cut to class, where we're introduced to one of Klara's new classmates, Selina, played by Leslie Lill, throwing a fit over some dumb picture someone made of her and uploaded to my school. Dated much? They get interrupted by the teacher, who introduces Klara to the class before handing out papers for an exam. During this exam, Klara catches Selina blatantly cheating. Will this be relevant for later on? Maybe, but let's just continue. Naturally, Klara's discovery of Selina cheating hasn't gone unnoticed by the same, and during recess, the two have a chat during which Selina invites Klara to a club called Domino. She politely declines, but when her classmate Tim, played by Jeremy Mockridge, asks her the same question, she suddenly agrees to it. So, why did it work with him, but not with Selina? because our lead clearly, very clearly and desperately wants the D. Prove me wrong. Cut to the domino where Klara meets Tim and Selena, and they all go down into a cellar where a bunch of other kids are giving out booze. Long story short, Klara is offered some, refuses at first, then gives into peer pressure, and then drinks. And the next minute or so is basically a kid version of the video to Smack My Bitch Up, where a drunken Klara aimlessly wanders through the club. Of course, being the nice classmate that he is, Tim offers to take her home to his house where she can spend the night. You see, Klara didn't tell her parents where she was actually going. As far as they are concerned, Klara is staying at Selena's having a sleepover. The next morning, a somewhat sobered-up Klara finds her way into the kitchen of Tim's house, where we meet Tim's younger brother Max, played by Jeremy's real-life brother Liam. After a bit of small talk, however, Klara suddenly realizes that her cell phone is missing. Will that be relevant for later on? Well, let's just see and find out what happens. Eventually, Klara makes it home, where she is immediately questioned by her overbearing father and her reluctant mother Karen, played by Heike Kozlowski. And from here on, stuff starts to get weird. Well, after Klara leaves, Tim decides to log on to My School, as he usually does, where he spots a second friend request by Klara. However, the profile pic and the uploaded photos are far more revealing and sexier than those in Klara's actual profile. Naturally, by the time Klara arrives at the school the next day, pretty much everyone has seen this fake profile and now decides to be a total asshole to her. She asks Tim what's going on, and Tim immediately shows her the fake profile that someone created with intimate pictures from her stolen cell phone. And how does Klara react to this? You know, the way you would actually expect someone to react, with horror and shock. And she does something that is absolutely understandable. After that, Tim and Klara take a train to the countryside to go to a cliff. Why? Simple. Climbing is Klara's hobby. As said, it makes total sense that after a reveal, such as having a fake profile with semi-nude pics of you made, you'd want to do something that you enjoy and something to get your mind off things. The scene in the train establishes something else, though. In this scene, Klara talks about her former school and her involvement in a drug and alcohol abuse case that happened there. This, by the way, is also the reason why she and her parents moved to Stuttgart. And yeah, considering what we just heard, yeah, you can kind of understand why Klara didn't tell her parents back in the earlier scene where she was actually going. And during the climbing scene, Klara talks to Tim about free solo or free solo climbing and how she would like to do that one day.
Und irgendwann will ich unbedingt mal Free Solo ausprobieren.
Free was?
Free Solo. Das ist die reinste Form vom Klettern.
Ohne Seil und ohne Sicherung.
Ich glaube, es gibt keinen größeren Kick auf der Welt.
Was ist, wenn du abrutschst?
Ja, darum geht's doch. Um die Möglichkeit, dass man fallen kann.
Du spinnst doch. Ich meine, stell dir mal vor, du fällst echt. Will ich aber nicht dabei sein.
Why is this relevant? Well, just wait and see. So after having some fun, Klara returns home and back to her depressing reality by taking a look at her fake profile and seeing the nasty and inappropriate comments left by trolls and classmates. Unfortunately, she picked a rather bad time to do this, as her father comes into her room while she does. So, what do you think is going to happen? I bet you're probably going to assume that the father is going to go completely apeshit and bonkers and completely lose it. Thankfully, Comedy doesn't go that dramatic route. Basically what happens is this. Klara shows her father the fake profile, and during work, he calls up Chief Inspector Thorsten Lannert, played by Richie Müller, to see what can be done about it. Chief Inspector Lannert has a very basic approach to this. He just talks to Klara's class directly.
Mein Name ist Thorsten Lannert, eigentlich Kriminalhauptkommissar der Mordkommission in Stuttgart. In diesem Fall aber hat mich Klaras Familie um Hilfe gebeten.
Stolz, ich bin Klaras Vater.
Wie einige von euch vielleicht mitbekommen haben, wird Klara mit privaten Fotos im Internet bloßgestellt. Ich möchte euch dazu ein paar Fragen stellen.
Klar, schieß los.
Ich wollte nicht wissen, wer der Klassenclown ist, sondern ob jemand etwas über den Verbleib von Klaras Handy weiß. Derjenige nämlich, der das falsche Profil hochgeladen hat, hat sich damit strafbar gemacht, da er ohne Zustimmung Klaras ihre privaten Bilder, die nur für sie bestimmt waren, öffentlich gemacht hat. Und das ist verboten. Möchte wirklich niemand von euch etwas dazu sagen? Gut. Da ich weiß, dass Klaras Handy noch angeschaltet ist, wähle ich jetzt einfach mal ihre Nummer.
Lannert, quote-unquote, calls Klara on her phone, and to everyone's surprise, Klara's cell phone answers from inside Tim's bag. Now, there are only two options available here. Either Tim is the one who uploaded the video, who made the video, and has been playing Klara this entire time. But what seems more plausible is option number 2. That someone made the video, uploaded the video, and is now trying to frame Tim. Since he doesn't have any evidence to the contrary, Lannert assumes the first possibility and interrogates Tim at the station. Meanwhile, Klara's father's curiosity is somewhat piqued, and while looking for his daughter's name on a search engine, he stumbles upon the video someone made of Klara wandering through the domino while being drunk. Oops. Gerhard immediately questions his daughter about why she lied to him and her mother. The argument gets so heated that her mother even considers therapy, considering the stuff Klara dealt with at her old school. Of course, that kind of suggestion doesn't sit well with Klara, which is why she runs to a room where she decides to run away. Where is she off to? To commit suicide, of course. You think I'm kidding? You just wait. So after the interrogation, Tim is sent back home where he and his brother Max try to find out who actually made the fake account that caused Klara all this trouble. And how do they find out who actually did it? With the help of some weird loophole on the My School server. Essentially what they do is search for Klara's name on the site and then through trial and error try to guess the email used for the fake account. Which prompts me to ask if this is actually doable. For anyone watching this episode after this review, put it in the comments. I want to know, is that actually doable? Tim and Max manage to track down the email to a gamer forum where they come across a post with a very specific wording. Turns out, this phrasing is used by one of Tim's classmates, Daniel, played by Ole Johansson.
Das sagt der Berger immer. Mach dich mal locker. Der Daniel Berger aus meiner Klasse.
Das ist doch der Typ, dem seine Eltern das Internet gekappt haben.
Ja, und jetzt sitzt er immer im Domino rum, weil er da umsonst WLAN hat.
Wow! Really? Only one person in this entire city has ever used this exact phrasing. What are the fucking odds? But then again, they only have 45 minutes to tell this story and to wrap everything up, so I'm gonna let you get away with it this time. Tim knows that Daniel usually hangs out in the lounge area of the Domino because it offers free Wi-Fi. Thus, Tim and Max sneak into the Domino to steal Daniel's laptop. The two succeed, but get caught by Daniel and his friends, upon which a chase scene ensues that ends at the police station where Tim and Max conveniently run into Chief Inspector Lannert. Again, 45 minutes. You know, the clock is ticking.
Leonard thus interrogates Daniel, who confesses.
Was ist daran so schlimm? Das Handy lag da halt rum vom Domino. Und ich fand's halt irgendwie lustig. Jeder lädt doch Fotos hoch. Das ist doch vollkommen normal.
Aber die eigenen.
Aber ich wollte das alles doch gar nicht. Ich fand's ja selbst total krass, wie das alles auf einmal so abgegangen ist. Im Netz und in der Schule. Deswegen habe ich dem Tim das Handy auch in die Tasche getan. Ich wollte doch nur, dass er das der Klara zurückgibt.
Das glaube ich dir nicht.
The interrogation intensifies when Leonard is informed by Clara's father that Klara has run away. Since Tim does know her a bit better than the inspector, he decides to go to the cliff the two had been earlier. And what does he find? Klara trying to commit suicide. Remember what she said about the free solo and how dangerous it was and how you can actually die trying this?
Well, okay. I guess I have to qualify this one. I don't think that Klara actually wanted to commit suicide. I think it was more of a outcry situation. You know, she wanted to do something really extreme.
Tim runs up to the path leading to the cliff summit and tries to pull her up while talking about a stupid polar bear named Wilbert to calm her down.
This is, of course, a reference to the polar bear cub Knut, who, for some reason, became insanely popular just a few years before this episode was made.
Using all his strength, Tim finally manages to pull Klara up the cliff and to safety. The two walk back to the bottom when they encounter Inspector Leonard, who, of course, immediately scolds her. The episode thus concludes with Klara asking Leonard not to tell her father about what just happened, to which he agrees.
And yeah, considering all the shit that Klara had to go through in the past few days, yeah, that is a wise course of action. So, this was Krimi.de Netzangriff. And, as said, it's pretty good.
The episode does a good job at relating the dangers of the internet for young people, specifically the fact that whatever gets put online usually stays online. Hailing and Mockridge give a good performance, although I do still have some issues with the whole loophole in the server thing.
Again, I don't think it's that easy in real life.
If I had to criticize anything, it's Heinze as the father and the limited time frame. To me, Klara's father seems more of a stereotypical, overbearing figure than an actual person.
Which, sadly, is also what I can say about the father in our next review. But I'll explain when we actually get to that.
The only way this could be excused is by referring to Klara's past, and that he's trying everything not to let this happen to his daughter again. And, as said, another minor gripe I have with this is the time frame. 45 minutes just aren't enough to flesh all this out, so certain things just have to be rushed.
And, again, that whole loophole and phrasing thing, which I'm still not convinced that that actually works.
But the fact that this show actually goes out of its way to show how drastic the consequences of doxing or putting someone's private shit online without their consent can have is definitely a plus in my book.
This was Das German Kritic, and in the next review, we're going to take a look at another Krimi.de episode. What's the subject? Incest! Because incest is wincest.